Yeah, I call to order this regular scheduled meeting of the 34th City Council for February 6th. 2024 at 7 p.m. Everyone in attendance, can you please silence any of your communication devices and cell phones as to not disturb the meeting? Mr. Clerk, can we have the roll?
Councilmember Enos.
Here.
Councilmember Hammoud.
Here.
Councilmember Abraham.
Here.
Councilmember Paris.
Here.
Councilmember El Sawafi. Councilmember Herrick.
Here.
Council President Sereni.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, at this time, I'd like to turn over the meeting to Councilman Robert Abraham.
Thank you, Council President. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Pastor Colleen Neiman of the St. Paul Lutheran Church, who will give the invocation for tonight's council meeting. We'd ask you to stand if you are able for the invocation, and please remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. And if you could, we have a nice crowd here tonight. I'm hoping there's some enthusiasm as we pledge our allegiance to the United States of America.
Eternal, Almighty, Creator of us all, amid the turmoil and opportunities of this world, your love is steadfast and your strength does not fail. Be to this meeting tonight a sure guardian. Guide our community's leaders with your wisdom. Also tonight, for those near and far who are in distress, especially those in harm's way, and for those who work toward just and lasting peace, grant comfort and courage. As well, we give thanks for those who serve and defend our community. Help us to be mindful of sacrifices made and challenges endured by their families and friends. As well as we approach elections, we give thanks for the values of justice and freedom that we hold dear and have as a privilege and responsibility. Finally, for whatever else you see that we need, we humbly ask, seeking to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Councilman. Okay, Mr. Clerk, can we have the first item of business?
Yes, the next item is item number 4, resolution by Council President Sereni, supported unanimously, acknowledging Nassim Masfer on a record-breaking basketball achievement and requesting immediate effect.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. So Nassim Masher is a high school, Dearborn High School senior, and he is a 4-year varsity player with 3 years as captain. This season, he averaged over 22 points a game, shooting 45% from the three-point line. I wanted to make sure that was correct. So Nassim's career at Dearborn High School was recently led him to score over 1,000 points. We're showing some of the highlights here on the TV for our residents at home and the people that are here. We want to acknowledge this amazing feat as he is one of only 7 people in the history of Dearborn High School athletics to gain this title. Breaking a point record is an extraordinary accomplishment and a testament to your skill and your commitment. We are incredibly proud of your accomplishment and look forward to witnessing your continued success, Nassim. So at this time, I would like to have Mr. Nassim and his family come forward. We're going to present him with the citation, and the council, if it can come down to the front. And applause, of course.
No. I mean,
All right, you guys are obviously got to get back. See me right here.
No,
I thought you had something, yeah.
It's mine coming this way.
Yes. All right, thank you very much. It's always great to recognize our high school athletes, these young people balance their educational with their athletic, and it's always a great feat to see somebody from our school system doing so well, and we wanted to recognize them. So we wish them best in the future, and hopefully we'll be seeing some more accolades in the future comes. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion to suspend the rules. Motion by Councilman Hamud, supported by Councilwoman Herrick. Any objection to unanimous roll? Okay, Mr. Clerk, unanimous roll will be attached.
Okay?
All right, so at this time, we are going to give us presentation from we have the Dearborn Public Schools and our college here that we have granted them time to give us a proposal on the upcoming millage and what's going on for our residents. So who would like to start first, the schools or the college? Okay, Mr. Maleko?
President Serini, we appreciate the opportunity. Council members, thank you for allowing us to be here. This is Tom Wall, Executive Director of Business Service and Operations. I'm Glenn Maleko, Superintendent of Dearborn Schools. Mayor, thank you. First thing I do want to mention is I really appreciate the great partnership with the city, with the things that we worked together today and I know I was talking to Councilman Abraham at the Exchange Club as we were dealing with a situation at Dearborn High. So I want to commend the chief, the entire police department, the SROs, for working together. It was done out of abundance of caution, but the bottom line is we worked together to make sure that students are safe, and they were. Despite the media and other things that happened, we did what was right. And again, I want to commend the mayor, the chief, everyone and the council for allowing these great partnerships. So we're thankful that we were able to get through that situation with no injuries, and students are safe, staff, and we'll continue to work together in school safety. And I know the council has supported other school safety initiatives like our SROs and other interlocal agreements. So I am here, though, to talk about and I believe there's a PowerPoint. Yes, I think I have to say next. So this is a renewal. It goes back to years ago, Proposal A, 1994, and every 10 years we have to go for a renewal. It is truly a renewal. It'll be on the ballot February 27th. With the primaries, there will be the three ballot options, the Democrat, Republican, and the nonpartisan. Next slide, please. We are the third largest district in the state with 20,000 students, approximately 2,900 staff members. This millage renewal is approximately $41 million out of our operational fund. That's of a 274 general fund budget. It's a 274 million, excuse me. One of the reasons we're here is to say we want to maintain a lot of the positive things that are going on in the district. We already talked about school safety, so that's one. It's always a top priority, but we're always looking to increase. District right now has 95% graduation rates. We've had 5 blue ribbon schools. We're looking at some actually good news coming up hopefully this year as well. We're anticipating. We're nationally accredited by Cognia. We save parents over $4 million a year in tuition through our partnership with the Henry Ford College, the early college program, dual enrollment. When students go and we work together with President Cavalluna and the college, we're actually the highest in the state by far, possibly on a per capita basis in the nation. We're one of the top programs. On the same token, we also provide free preschool for students. So at the end, but you start at the preschool level. So we're very proud of those programs. We have very low class size right now in the school district. We have large English language learners. We go up to about 50%. So we want to maintain these things in the district. That's what we're looking to do. And so that's why this operational millage is very important. Next slide, please. So this is used for the operation of the district. This is not bond. So state law says a bond is for construction and new buildings can only be used for that. This is not. This is for the operation of the district. This goes for the salaries of our staff that support our students. So a bond cannot be used for that. A millage is. And so this is our teachers, our bus drivers, our support staff, all the supports that go into providing education for the students. Next slide, please. So the mill rates, we have two things. It's one ballot initiative, and there's two portions to it. So there's what we call the homestead for the homeowners. The last time we came in 2014, that was a 6.17 mill rate. That is going down on the ballot to 4 mills. So it is a reduction for the homeowners. And we don't get to determine how much we collect from the homeowners. It's determined by the state formula. And right now, we're actually only collecting 2.05 mills. That could sustain around that area. This new proposal will cap it at 4, but again, it's a reduction, it's a renewal, and it is a reduction for the homeowners. And that equates to approximately $7 million. The bigger piece, and this is based on state law, this is your non-homestead. This is approximately $34 million, it's 18 mills, so it comes from your businesses, Ford Motor Company, others, and it's a flat rate across the district for every district in the state. We don't determine the rate, but it does encompass a large portion of our budget, which is $34 million. So the majority of the homeowners, if you had a second rental home, then you're in a non-homestead. But if you own one home, you're paying the lower rate, which is the 4 mills. So it's the businesses on the 18 mills. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to mention too, before I go to this slide as a reminder, we have a few examples. So if this, let's just say to make up the 41 million, how would you do that? So just as an example, and again, we would probably have to make cuts across the board, but transportation is $14 million, okay? Our utilities are $4.4 million a year. You have to pay your utility bill, so that's something that wouldn't get reduced if this were to fail. 4.2 million in technology and 3.2 million example in athletics. That's about 25 million, and that wouldn't make up the difference. So we would be in a situation where we'd have to really be creative with our thinking. So again, this is expiring, just to recap, this is expiring at the end of this year. It is a renewal. It's not an increase. It is a reduction in tax for the homeowners, and it's very important to sustain the school district. It's for the operation of the district. It's not for building, and we appreciate being here, the opportunity to talk about the importance of getting out to vote. We encourage people to vote, whether it be in that Republican, Democrat, or in the nonpartisan, because whether or not they vote on the national level, the local ballot initiatives are extremely important to the local city, to the students, to the staff, to the community. So we're willing to take any questions that you may have, and Councilman Abraham, thank you for arranging this as well.
You're welcome. Absolutely. Does any of the council have any questions? Okay. Dr. Maliko, thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
And now we have our Henry Ford College.
Good evening, Mr. President, council members, and Mr. Mayor. My name is Mary Petlichkoff, and I'm here tonight wearing 2 hats, because not only am I the vice chair of Henry Ford College Board of Trustees, I'm also the vice president of the P12 Dearborn Public School System. We are the only school district in the state of Michigan that is P14. We have that distinction, that uniqueness, that serves the community of Dearborn. It's so important for the community to understand this because it also has a responsibility that brings with it. And one of those is that as a community college, we require 3 platforms of funding revenues: state appropriations, student tuition and fees, and local property taxes, which is the millage. That local property tax, because we only represent the city of Dearborn, covers 20% of our revenue resources. So it's very important that we continue to maintain a strong budget with those resources. You will see on the ballot proposal for this millage, it's going to say new, but it really isn't. We are not increasing the amount of taxes we are asking for. Rather, we are combining 2 separate millages, one that's due to expire this year and the other that's to expire next year. And rather than going back to the community next year, we decided to combine them. So we have a 1 mill and a 3 mill combined to a 4 mill proposal this year. But you will not see a raise in your property taxes from this. It will remain the same. So in essence, while it's called a new millage, it's really more like a renewal in the fact that it's not going to increase your taxes. What the college brings to this community is more than just a college education. We have so many other programs that benefit the community as a whole. We have a planetarium, we have an art gallery, we have theater, we have a tremendous band program that serves the community. We have anybody who's the age of 60 and over can go to college for free. We also have an agreement with U of M Dearborn, Eastern Michigan, Wayne State University. Anybody who walks away from Henry Ford College with an associate's degree is guaranteed an easy transfer into those 3 colleges, and we are working on more agreements so that you don't have to struggle to pay an exorbitant first 2 years college tuition, because we only charge a little over $100 a credit compared to $500 at a 4-year institution. And then you can take your associate's degree and continue on and get your 4-year degree for a much less cost, probably $30,000 you'll be saving if you start out at Henry Ford College. Not only that, we also have Henry Ford Early College. This millage will help us expand our infrastructure capabilities so that we can increase our enrollment of our high schoolers who will graduate after 5 years with a high school diploma and an associate's degree. We have had a lot of interest in all of our early college programs, and we need to be able to afford space for them on our college campus. And this millage renewal will help provide the funding necessary to do that. Now I'm going to have my associate here come up and
Thank you, Ms. Petrikov.
Council President, members of council, Mr. Mayor, thank you for having us here tonight. My name is Eric Rader. I teach political science at Henry Ford College. I've been a teacher there for 20 years this year. And then 2 years ago, I was elected to be the president of the full-time faculty union, which is affiliated with the AFT Local 1650. We're very proud of the partnership we have with the trustees, Trustee Petlichkoff and her colleagues, as well as President Cafaluna. What I wanted to talk about is how we use the 4 mills, because this, as the trustee mentioned, this is a renewal. So I want to talk about how we're using the resources now and how we would continue to use them if this were to be approved by voters in the city of Dearborn. The trustee mentioned the Henry Ford Early College, and one of the ways we would be using this money is making sure that they have a dedicated campus. Right now, they're in a kind of a somewhat cramped space. In fact, it's a building near where I work, and the renewal of these mills would allow us to ensure that they have a dedicated campus, and we could do a little more rearranging on campus, but that they would have a dedicated space. Another would be to focus on classroom investments, the programs that Trustee Petlicoff talked about and that we are proud of at the college require modern technology, modern classrooms. We have a lot of great things going on in our classrooms, but we need to be able to continue that, and the 4 mills, if they were approved, would allow us to do that. In expanding enrollment, we did suffer during the pandemic with enrollment declines. We have started to see those come back up in the last year or so, and we would want to continue focusing on enrollment growth at the college. Keeping tuition low is certainly a major goal of the trustees, I know, and it's of all of us at the college. And the 4 mills allows us to charge very reduced rates to the Dearborn residents who are paying tuition. Many of our students don't pay tuition because of some of the programs that we have, but when they do pay tuition, if you're a Dearborn resident, if you live in the district, you pay roughly about half of what someone who doesn't live in the district would pay, and that is a result of the mills that homeowners are paying on their properties here that allows the students to go at a reduced rate. We have this strong dual enrollment program. Again, we have this very strong partnership, unique anywhere that I'm aware of. I travel for AFT quite a bit, and I've not seen this anywhere where you have a K-14 school district. And so we have very strong dual enrollment. About 2,700 students at Henry Ford College are dual enrolled students. That's about almost 20% of our enrollment. And they are in college classes, earning college credits before they finish high school. And the millage rate, the mills that we have allow us to maintain that wonderful program. The trustee mentioned our partnerships with the other 4-year schools. And again, we've been able to foster those through the support of the community. We also recently, and the mayor was at this event at the college, announced a partnership with Corewell Health that basically allows graduates of our nursing program to go into employment, guaranteed employment with Corewell Health, and that is, again, because of the support of this community for our college. We also have many programs, and I've been a teacher there for 20 years and have worked with a lot of different programs with very strong placement rates. And again, because this community has always supported this college, and that has allowed us to do the things we're talking about. And then finally, because I am the faculty union president, this allows us to recruit the best faculty for the students. We have many of our newer faculty now have PhDs. In fact, I don't know what the percentage is, but a large percentage of our faculty do have PhDs, the highest degrees in their field. And I'm very proud of both the full-time and the adjunct faculty that we have at the college. And again, the support of this community allows us to do all of these things: recruit good faculty, have good programs, support our high school students, and guarantee that they have successful futures. So we definitely have appreciated the support of the community in the past, and appreciate the opportunity to talk about what we're doing with the money.
Thank you. Trustee Petlicoff, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I would like to add that community colleges had a reputation in the past which no longer is true today. We just recently heard from a student who came here as an immigrant. He was here for 5 years, didn't have a high school diploma because of the age of when he moved here, didn't speak English, was concerned he was never going to see his American dream. He came to the college because we have opportunity. That's what a community college is for, is to give those who don't think they have an opportunity for higher education a pathway forward. He is now today a Rhodes Scholar. He went on to U of M, Dearborn, and is now going over to England as a Rhodes Scholar. This was a young gentleman who thought he had no way forward. And the community college here that is owned, operated by the city of Dearborn. It's something to be proud of. It's another unique thing about this community, a P14 district that doesn't exist anywhere else in the state, a community college that belongs to one city alone, doesn't exist anywhere else in the state, and we really need this to see this continue to be something that everyone can take advantage of, whether you're a high schooler or 85 and wanting to find some time to go and look at the stars in our free planetarium shows. We have something to offer everybody in this community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Can I, Council President?
Yes, Mayor,
I
absolutely.
just want to offer, Mary got me fired up. being a P215 system is unique, and if you listen to the state of the governor most recently, she's trying to model what Dearborn has done across the whole state.
That's right.
None of the success that we've had, and I'm gonna frame it that way. She's trying to model what Dearborn has done across the whole state, expanding preschools to free preschool across the whole state, as well as tuition-free community college. What's not mentioned thus far is our Henry Ford Early College Program is actually a top 25 high school in the whole state of Michigan. It says, again, the 3+2, you get to go for 5 years, you get the quasi-high school, quasi-community college field, but you graduate with an associate's degree at no cost. I'm somebody who benefited from dual enrollment. I got to graduate with almost 40 college credits paid for, and so when I entered University of Michigan Dearborn, I actually shaved off a complete year. And now with the easy transition, without having to apply as long as you maintain a certain GPA, it's beneficial. I have scrutinized both these groups up and down. We've had many a conversation for many a months about what this means for the overall field, but the reality is, if Dearborn wants to move forward, you need a 21st century education system. And we're lucky to have these institutions in our backyard. And so lending my supportive voice, really excited for the future of both the college as well as our K-12 system. Slightly biased, my kids are of the age where I'm thinking about, okay, great, they're entering the school system in a few years, and really hoping that they're in tip-top shape. And we do have 21st, we have the best-in-class educators as well. And it's because, we're able to offer a floor in pay that's not offered elsewhere. It makes us very competitive. It makes us great in recruiting, and something that we need to sustain. So again, we've challenged them. I think they've come back with robust measures. They've made some changes that pertains to how long the millage is. The hold harmless has come down, which has been phenomenal to see with state increasing their school aid funding. And so really excited to see and hope that the community comes out and supports these too. So I just wanted to lend a supportive voice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much, appreciate that. Thanks, Mayor, for your, all right. At this time, we will return to the regular council agenda. And Mr. Clerk, the next item is
Public comment.
public comment, okay. So at this time, the council rules allow for a 30-minute public comment after those presentations. So we also have a 3-minute limitation, and the clerk will give you a 30-second warning when you get there. We do have comment cards, which we'll call from there. If you do not wish to fill one out, you could just stand forward, and we'll bring you up after these comment cards are down to address the council regarding city business. So first we have Bill Broad. Bill? Baud, okay, I'm sorry. Bill Baud. Would you like to come forward, sir?
First, let me say good evening to Mr. Mayor and the ladies and gentlemen of the City Council and to the people in the audience. I'm here tonight to ask for a little bit of help for my neighborhood, which is, I live on Carlisle in the Whitmore Bowles neighborhood. I graduated from Whitmore Bowles in 1962. The city has ordinances, and to some of the residences, the ordinances seem to be a little nitpicking and things like that. But everybody that lives in my neighborhood, I assume, is wonderful people, but sometimes they need a reminder that these ordinances are put in place to keep the quality of life up high, and so that Dearborn always looks like a city that people want to move into and be with. I've called several times to the police station about a parking ordinance.
You could just pass them, hand them there.
Talk into the microphone and no one can hear you.
Yeah, so, we'll pass them, thank you.
I believe that most cities in southeastern Michigan have an ordinance for vehicles that if they are parked outside and not in a garage or a parking structure, that they need to have proper plates or tags on them. And the other thing is in many cities in southeastern Michigan, they can only be parked outside on cement. They cannot be parked on grass or on dirt. And in some areas, they can't be parked on gravel either. Now, this happens to be a home down the block from me. The address is 21911 Carlisle. And this vehicle has been parked in this field, which I believe the homeowner owns. If you notice the area of Monroe and Carlisle, this is on the south side of Carlisle, and east of Monroe, there's an alley there, and between the alley and this house is a small field. and that's where this vehicle is parked. And I've talked to police officers in the ordinance department for this, and last 4 days ago, I went by there, and the gentleman had put a cover over his vehicle and over the trailer that's parked behind it. It's not really
No, we understand.
kosher. I was trying to
Well,
think of a good word.
Mr. Broad, just so you know, we do have those same ordinances. In fact, this council passed, we have the same ordinances that you referred to. They are in place. So we will, is this for?
Jordan.
For Jordan, yeah. So, Mr. Torti, if you come forward, we'll pan this over and make sure it gets done. We also have an ordinance that this council passed regarding tarped vehicles, so that's not allowed either.
Correct.
So we will, this is clearly a violation of several ordinances.
I
So you are
understand
cor-
some
you
people
are-
have, they have, some houses have more vehicles than they can actually contain. Most of the houses in my neighborhood don't have enough area for sometimes the amount of vehicles that people have, but.
Right, but we can't pick, yes, thank you, but we can't pick and choose, you can't park it on the dirt, you can't park it on the grass, and you
Right.
can't tarp it, so, and you're correct, you can't have a car without a license plate. If it is, you have to put it in the garage. So, Mr. Torti, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have, our Economic Development Department is in charge of enforcement, so we're gonna make sure we get you the address over there and the pictures of it, and we'll get it enforced. It's just an enforcement issue. As you know, it's in the back of the house, so maybe it wasn't viewed from the street, or is it viewed?
It's adjacent to the house.
Yeah, but it looks like it's fenced in
No, it is not. It is
So just-
open to the alley.
to the alley, okay. So we
It
will
is
get,
open on all sides, the field. It
Well-
has a fence on the south side, which is somebody's yard that is on Catherine Street.
okay, we will get to it. Thank you so much for bringing it to our attention,
Well,
because it
thank
is
you
correct.
for working with me on this.
Absolutely. So,
Good night,
Mr. Torti,
everybody.
we'll have this over for you so you can, yeah. And then make sure you keep a copy. All right, next we have Mr. Glenn O'Cray. Keep a copy for, give it to Jordan.
Councilman Abraham said he doesn't see me smile.
Often enough.
Just for the
Offer it
record
up.
again, Glenn O'Cray,
So-
because we're asking his name.
So with that in mind, I'm going to tell you the name of the topic to keep everybody else hopefully smiling. The Hubbard Hidden House. You have the address in front of you. The Hubbard Hidden House is the second oldest house in Dearborn, next to the Gardner House, which is at the museum. The house is being neglected. A citation was put on the door in September. The second floor window is either taken out or it's boarded up, either which brings a blighted appearance. The porch is in great need of repair. It's unsafe to walk on. As a proud city, we should be maintaining, preserving, and cherishing our historic homes. So I encourage the city council to update the historic district ordinance. This morning, the Museum Guild of Dearborn unanimously approved the following at its monthly meeting. The Museum Guild of Dearborn hereby requests that the Dearborn City Council do everything in its power to preserve the Hubbard Hidden House located at 1254 Porter. So, Preservation Dearborn supports this request. We will meet at any time with members of the council individually or with the mayor or the staff to work on this. Everybody say Hubbard Hidden House 5 times. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Cray, and thank you for the letter and the information you provide. So we will get this to our Economic Development Department again as well. All right, thank you. Next, we have, is it Amber? Yes. And then just a kind reminder, just your name and address for the record.
My name is Amber, and I live in Dearborn Heights. I'm here on Camp Dearborn. I'm a longtime resident in Camp Dearborn. So we are all here together because we're kind of curious as to the rent that was raised, the timely manner that you guys have chosen to raise the rent, and people that cannot afford the payment structure that you have chosen to give to us. It doesn't fit budget. Taxes are due, home taxes are due, and just like you guys are, keeping Dearborn wonderful, we want you to do the same for Camp Dearborn. A lot of us have been there a long time. Seems like the rules have changed a lot, which is okay. We need to keep it clean, tidy. But as far as the rent, and is there a cap on it? Last year you raised it $300. This year you raised it $500. So altogether, in 1 year's process, you raised it $800, which there's a lot of people that can't afford that right now. So my question is there something we can do and better for someone to still stay at Camp Dearborn? And where's the cap off on the rent?
Okay, ma'am, I'm sure the mayor will want to address it, but the mayor did address it last week, a few weeks back at one of our meetings, and the council's abreast of what the rates have increased and why we have done it to the free investment. I know you don't live in our city, but we have been apportioning a lot of money into Camp Dearborn to bring it back to where it should be, because there
Okay.
hasn't been input in there in years. So regarding the fees, I know that the mayor had an explanation, and it wasn't just a raise, it was based on logical explanation of what other campgrounds are charging. So Mayor, if you'd like to.
Yeah, so thank you so much for being here. So, somebody grew up at Camp Dearborn, somebody loves Camp Dearborn. Camp Dearborn's been neglected for a few decades now. And so for us, we recently secured a $2 million grant. We've gone through a master planning process. The master plan will hopefully be finalized this year and begin to roll out those $2 million worth of investments across camp. And in total, the master plan actually says you need about $15 to $20 million to bring Camp Dearborn back to like top tier. And so we're going to work through to see what other grant opportunities there are. We're submitting a few more this year, trying to make those investments. As it pertains to the fee schedule, one of the things that we evaluated was we came in when the voters voted down an operating millage in the city of Dearborn, and we had about a $30 million deficit that we had to address. And so there was a lot of sacrifices that employees, retirees, residents of the city had to make. And as you just see earlier, we have 2 ballot initiatives coming up right now that voters are going to have to pay for. And so as we assess Camp Dearborn, we know that about 50% of campers are actually non-Dearborn residents. And so we thought it prudent and fair that if there's sacrifices being made by Dearborn retirees, non-Dearborn retirees, former employees, current existing employees and residents, that we try to spread the sacrifice across all of our facilities. And so we're raising fees when fees have not been raised at Camp Dearborn in many a year. There's pretty much nothing that has come up. There hasn't been a price that has not seen some level of inflation. And for us, we took comparisons under the leadership of those at Camp Dearborn to what other campsites are currently charging. And Camp Dearborn still stands between 15% up to 80% cheaper than a lot of these camping opportunities across Michigan. And so we're not trying to do it to push people out. In fact, we're trying to do it because Camp Dearborn has been bleeding money for many a year. We want it to break even so we can get those investment dollars and put it back into Camp Dearborn. We didn't pursue a $2 million grant to raise fees and push everybody out. We have no, we're not going to sell any portion of Camp Dearborn. I know that was tried under previous administrations. We have no intention on doing this. In fact, we just want to bring back life to Camp Dearborn. You might have seen an investment recently in Wi-Fi. You've seen an investment. We have bathroom facilities coming under construction soon. Making sure we have the pool up and running this year. We're making sure that we brought back the paddle boats this year. We brought back the putt-putt and trying to bring that back to life. So we have a lot happening at Camp Dearborn, but Camp Dearborn also needs to sustain itself. I think it is unfair if that a majority of goers at Camp Dearborn are non-Dearborn residents, but the loss is subsidized by Dearborn residents. And so that's the other aspect of this. I can't go to Dearborn residents and say, hey, your millages are going up because of the schools and Henry Ford College. Your sacrifices are being made on benefits for retirees and such, but non-Dearborn residents don't feel any of that impact at facilities that non-Dearborn residents are largely using. So we're just trying to make sure that we spread that across the board.
So, but is there going to be a cap, or we're just going to find out each year that
Yeah.
it went up again, it went up again?
For us, like we did these increases in these last 2 years, and we're kind of comfortable where it is right now. We think this is kind of where we want to be. We're trying to communicate. We're trying to put installment plans, and the reason we did the installment plans and trying to give deadlines is we had folks who go through a whole camp season. There's no late fee. They're still not paying the fee, and we become kind of like debt collectors. We're pursuing these folks who have these trailers and trying to get them to pay when there's been nothing instituted to hold them accountable. And so we just want the dollars that the city is owed, in order for us to make those investments and make sure that we're staffed properly. It just made no sense. We have offered an early payment, obviously a discount of $100, and we're offering that where you can pay it in portions, kind of like you might be able to do with your taxes. We understand timeline might be appropriate, but from our budgetary perspective, it fit within our budgetary timeline, which is why we apportioned it in that manner.
So what if someone was to come to you and say, look, I just cannot do that? You're still just going to say?
In terms of payment plans and
Correct.
such? I mean, I have Sean, our Parks and Rec director, in the back that somebody can have a conversation with if they need to structure a payment plan that works. But we're trying to make sure something is unified across the whole board, so we have a standard. And that was one of the problems before. There was no standard. And as it pertains to being nitpicky, I think that was the verbiage. We're not trying to be nitpicky. There's a lot of illegal adjustments being made to many of those trailers, and we're just trying to hold people to account that these are the laws by the state that we have to follow, that we're held to, and we just want to make sure that it's applied uniformly, so nobody thinks that one person gets special treatment across the TV2 area or anywhere else in the county.
Okay, so as far as you're saying that you're improving things, we see a lot of improvements in the weekender sections, but not in TV2. Most of us are still looking at holes in our roads that,
Yeah.
a child can get hurt on.
Yeah.
And we're still looking at lots that have been empty for 2 and 3 years that haven't been done.
Yeah, I think
But
what
yet
you're
we see improvements on the other side.
It takes time. I think if you look at the last 2 years, we've, really, over the last year, we've really begun to be a little more bullish on Camp Dearborn. The master planning took feedback not only from residents of Dearborn, we also held master planning listening sessions at Camp Dearborn. What you're also seeing is trying to a faster pace to eliminate the blight in TV2.
Correct.
And so we're trying to go through, there's like 80-some units on the list that we need to demo through. And so we're trying to allocate those resources when people walk away or when they turn over the trailers or they just abandon them. And we're trying to get through that demolition process. It's, there's a lot that needs to be done. And I can't tell you that it'll be done in 1 year, but God willing, the master plan will be revealed this year, and you'll see what our timeline and trajectory is to hopefully bring back Camp Dearborn to a respectable place that everybody can be proud of.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right, and we have Michelle Knight.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Michelle Knight. I've had a pop-up for 15 years prior to owning my trailer since 2000. I've raised 3 girls there. All 3 of them have worked at Camp Dearborn. Never had an issue with anybody there. Had a lot of the things that Amber brought up was also on my list. But I went there this weekend to pay my due, and I brought up a couple things that was concerning to me, which was a giant tree hanging over my trailer, and was told, well, that's what we have insurance for. That's what we hope you have insurance for, which I thought was inappropriate. Also, they gave me a list that said I have excessive plants around my trailer. Okay, I like plants. They're not in my walkway. They're not out on the road. They're on my site. They're not a lot. I don't think there is, but evidently they're excessive. I was disappointed with the increase, for sure. I understand what you just explained to her. But I also think that maybe there can be some kind of incentive, like beautification incentive to somebody to, like maybe clean up your trailer, maybe be an example of what it should look like. Give them some incentive, give them a little bit off on their trailer or something. It's just an idea. I'm not saying that, hey, this is what needs to be done. It's just an idea. It would help.
Okay.
To bring, I think, people together too, because people care about what their trailer looks like for the most part. I too am from Detroit, love Camp Dearborn, but my trailer, the roads and the lots next to me look worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in a pretty decent area. I'm proud of where I live. It makes me feel bad when I'm separated, but you have your choice, you have your rules. I get it. But you know, I'd like to feel that I'm part of that place because I have raised my children there, my family there. I do everything I can possibly do to make things right. You know, I don't agree with the early hours on the canteen, the early hours on the pool, for
You have
whatever
30
reasons you
seconds.
have, or the holes that are in the road from the kids hitting their bikes and do a spill. The tree roots, humongous tree roots next to my trailer. I asked them about that. They said, we'll do our best to level it out. We're not filling nothing. Okay. I just think that, you know, I personally have been there a very long time. And I think that I should be given a little bit more respect.
Your time has expired.
Can I respond?
Yeah, Mayor, if you can, Ms. Knight, yeah, just for a minute, so thank you, Mayor. You wanted to respond,
Yeah,
and I know
sorry.
our director is taking the notes
Yeah,
back there.
and Steve is here. He's one of the newest employees over at camp. He's a tenant of camp as well, lifelong Dearborn resident. First and foremost, forgive me if I didn't say it, but thank you all for being supportive of camp for so many years. And we want you to be, really. I think you see that when we walk in, and we really need to invest in a place for a master plan to come back and say, hey, you're 20 million short of where it should be. That's a big number. But we have very big goals of trying to get to that number to reinvest back in Camp Dearborn. It will take some time. To have a $2 million out the gate in the first year that we came into office, that's beautiful, and we hope that you'll see some of those investments. For some of the particular concerns as it pertains to your trailer, some of the roads, please talk to Steve. He'll make sure you work with it. The suggestion about some beautification efforts, I love that. In fact, I was looking at Camp website last week, and I said, when's the last time we did beautification awards? I think it hasn't been done since 2018 or 2019.
Something like that.
And I actually brought it up to the team saying we should bring that back so people have some dignity and pride in what they're doing and others can follow suit. So I love that suggestion. And what I also tell is, we launched a Camp Dearborn advisory group, which never existed previously. And so we actually included our partners out in Milford, as well as some of the tenants of TV2 and Dearborn residents, all on this subcommittee of our Parks and Recreation Committee. And they've been also leading the way internally to have the conversations to drive the direction of camp. And so rather than it just being me in this position as mayor to say, here's what I want done, I actually defaulted and I said, why don't we take folk who are spending a lot of time at camp, folks from Milford also, folks from other TV2 areas and such, and have them drive what should be happening at camp. And so I've really been following their lead, which I think is what we should be doing, rather than just us sitting up at this podium spouting out what we think needs to be done. And so I love that suggestion. We'll take a note of that, and we'll see what we can do. And we really want to earn your I hate to say your patronage, but we want you to stay there, and I hope your children raise their children there. And hopefully, your children, my children can all raise in the same Camp Dearborn experience. So we'll do our best to do what we can to make it respectable again.
All right, thank you. And I know the director had, Mayor, we've talked, so I know the director had took the notes down, so
Yep.
they'll get it, because there
And
should not be any inconsistencies as
Correct.
far as,
Correct.
yeah, what you have, flowers and some. It's not someone to judge how many flowers you have, so we got to find out what's going on.
Yep,
Make
they'll
sure
take
you
care
know.
of it.
They'll take care of you.
Yeah, it is
Thank you.
on my inspection.
Okay.
That's
It is,
why I
that's
was
even
like-
better.
Yeah.
So
If you
we'll
talk
make
to
sure we
Steve
get a
in
hold
the
of that.
back, if you raise your hand, he'll connect with you.
Thank you. Okay, folks, our 30 minutes is almost expired. I'd like to get through if we can. So we have Joel Yinger. I'd like to get all of these before the council begins their session. Just a couple more on Camp Dearborn. Sir?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. It's about Camp
Just,
Dearborn.
again, sorry, I'm sorry, sir. Just your name and address. for
Joel
the record.
Yinger, 244 Highview.
Thank you, sir.
It's about Camp Dearborn. Some of the issues that, let's say, blindsided us because we didn't, let's say, read the lease because we're so used to the regular lease that's been there, is a violation document that says you're in violation of some of the rules, okay? My violation says that my shed is too close to the trailer. It needs to be 4 feet. I understand why. I always explained why. I need a fire hazard type thing. I get it. But then it had a checkbox on cabana. What does that mean? Okay? I hear all kinds of different stories, but I'd rather hear it from the people that came up with this violation agreement and all this kind of stuff there. What does that mean, cabana? All right, I do have a cabana inside of my trailer, okay? It's been there since I've been there, all right? I've been there for over 30 years, so I'm just want to ask that. And then I heard you say about revenue and stuff like that. There's empty spots up there that aren't rented out. And yet I've heard it during the holidays when it said the camp is full. Yet I can go back in TV2, where I don't know why you don't allow the other public back in there to set campsites. I can show you 4 or 5 campsites, there's no trailers on it, and yet they say the campground's full. So I don't understand that reasoning, all right, for some reason, why you don't want to put people back in TV2.
Yeah.
You know, just an idea that, well, if people know somebody on TV2, bring the trailer back there. If there's a spot to put it in there for their weekend or whatever, if they want to do that kind of thing, okay? I understand the 4 foot between it, stuff like that, but it's just the revenue of, like the earlier was spoken about, the raising the rents, trying to compare it to other campgrounds. I just want to mention that I don't think it's comparing, when you're comparing, we have electric only to other campgrounds that have water and sewer, and they pay for electricity, where we don't have water and sewer, so you're not technically comparing apples to apples, you're comparing apples to oranges, is the way I look at it. Granted, I know it's a RV park, okay, and you're making us people do stuff to the trailers, and like I said, I don't know what the cabana is. I know I've read the DEQ rules where it says anything over 400 square feet, so that's a 10-foot wide by 40-foot trailer, that's 400 square feet right there. Anything bigger than that is not considered an RV. It's considered a mobile home.
Correct.
And because the city, prior managements, and I'm going to say the city in general, allowed this to happen, it seems like we're getting punished for what they allowed to do, you know? And we feel we're getting pushed out is what it comes down to. We're
You have
getting
30
charged
seconds.
$800 raise in rent, and now we're doing this stuff. I'm asking to have this stuff that you want done staged or phased. In fact, like, you have a 5-year plan for the city of Dearborn? How about like a 5-year plan for camp for us, for the people there, that say, hey, the cabana's got to go, you got 5 years to get rid of it.
Yeah.
You know, stage it to that, or whatever, a couple years, however you want to do it. Make it fair for us as well, you know, so like some people said, we can't afford it.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yinger. Mayor, did you want to comment on this? Because we have to get the meeting
I
going.
can't speak to the cabana issue, so I guess I'll guide that to Steve and Sean, if I may. Just overall, speaking overarchingly, I mean, Dearborn residents have the $500 off relative to non-Dearborn residents in the pay structure.
but you charge more rent, so that actually negates. That's not really an
It's-
argument.
it's
And
still-
most
it's
of
still
those
an
people who are
increase, of course.
non-residents
It's still an increase.
were Dearborn residents.
Correct, it's still an increase, but it's still there's a discount.
There is a discount in the past, there wasn't.
$500.
In the past, there wasn't.
For Dearborn residents.
We're
Not for
trying
non-residents.
to, you know, it's one of those things like, you know, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Is it the revenue that came first to make the investment, or is it the investments that are made first before the revenue came in? And we're trying to balance both. We tried showing a sign of good faith that we went and got a $2 million grant, and we're beginning to roll out a master plan, and we're demonstrating that we're moving in the right direction. And we're trying to seek some additional assistance with revenue increases in order for us to reinvest those dollars back at camp.
And I guess I'm asking just to phase the violations in.
We'll work on
Mayor,
that.
yeah, what I can tell you though, Mr. Joel, and the director's back there, just so you know, you're absolutely right, we are complicit. I talked to the mayor about this in the beginning of his term. The city did allow some of these things, so we're, in the law, they call it, we have unclean hands just as well. But we're trying to get it corrected. But as far as your cabana.
Just don't do it all at once.
Well, we're trying to do the best we can. So as far as the cabana, if it's, you could talk with Steve, but if the cabana is not attached, is it attached to your property? It's attached to your, did you get it, I know it's been there 30 years.
Been there longer than that, but
Okay.
anyway,
So-
it's attached to the trailer. and-
What's existing, I know, but I want to say this on the
City-
record because some people don't like to, they come up with some
Well,
other
it's
stuff.
attached to the trailer, and as
What's
far as I know, it's
existing-
sitting on the concrete.
All right. What's existing shall say existing. Once it comes that it's got to be coming down because of the nature of it's just too old, then you would have to deal at that time. So I want to make sure that our director knows that back there because we've been hearing what's being written up and it's not consistent, which is what my concern was from the beginning. So if yours is in inhabitable shape, it's not broken, it's not damaged, it's not rotted, I don't see why it cannot stay. It's called grandfathered in. So if it's something where it's hazardous or it's gonna break or it's breaking, that's a different story, so.
That's you have to look at the violation document and kind of investigate that.
Well, we're gonna, yeah.
I know,
So-
please leave it to them to
Yeah.
determine, because you can't grandfather a hazard, right? If it's a shut-
Well, that's why, but Mayor, no, I'm not gonna, okay, hold on. This is one meeting. First of all, the reason why Mayor, with all due respect, the reason why they're all here is because of the inconsistencies. I've said this before, and I've talked to the director regarding this. I've talked to the legal department about what they can and cannot do. You cannot do that type of stuff. You cannot tell somebody they have to take something down that you allowed them to put in 30 years ago. So I want to make sure it's clear. I'm not going to leave it to them because if I leave it to them, I wouldn't have to spend the 30 minutes that we're doing now. We have to be consistent. So I want to make it clear, because I went up there already once. If I'm going to go up there again, I'm going to find out what's going on. You cannot tell somebody they have to take something down that's been there for 30 years. So if it becomes a hazard, like I said from the beginning, then that's an issue. So, sir, if it's on your report, then you need to show them. And I'm going to, Jackie, just make a note, we're going to have to get with Sean to find out what's going on as far as what's on the report. Because so far we've heard that, flowers, it's inconsistency. So that's my concern. We want to be fair, but we're trying to move the camp forward. To move the camp
I
forward,
agree.
we have to.
No, I agree. And
I understand you know that.
one of the things I
but
did want to say, if you have a product, advertise it like on billboards, rediscover Camp Dearborn.
We've been
That's
doing,
the thing,
yeah,
'cause
we're
a
doing the
lot of
best we
people
can.
moved up, moved on, got out, lives, come back, rediscover it.
Thank you,
But
okay.
I love the place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Inger. We have Suzette, is it Bowling?
Yeah.
Yes, if you'd like to come forward.
Basically saying.
Ma'am, I know, let's wait till you come up, I know. Just please, just say your name and address for the record and.
Suzette Bowling, Livonia, Michigan, 9119 Gilman. I worked up at Camp Dearborn. My mom and dad have been going up there for years, since it opened. My dad's had a trailer 50 years. I've had a trailer 25 years. So I've been up there since 76. He's been up there since 76. He has a cabana. I have an awning. They're asking me to detach. The awning's been there for, you know, I don't know, since I was little, we used to have the parades up there. I just feel like we're blindsided. The rent's usually due May. All of a sudden, it's due in February. That's double dipping, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think it's fair. We have the money, but a lot of people that we have been long-term up there to pay do not have the money. I just don't think it's fair. My daughter worked there, I worked there, and I had to do my daughter's trailer 2 years ago. Updates that they sold it to her was trashed. Then when she was done and finished and went to Madonna, she went to college, she works at Oakwood right now. My dad's still Dearborn resident. They made me clean up the whole thing and did more. I had to clean that whole thing, and they kept adding things. Like in the rules that you guys gave us the other day, me and my husband sat there for 3 hours reading them yesterday, 2 hours, whatever. Seemed like all night. So we called everybody. The rules state, once we check your what's wrong with your trailer off, we can add more stuff. And that's what they did to me. They had me doing it all summer long to my daughter's trailer, which she wasn't even paying for. Out of the kindness out of my heart, her fiance's mother was paying for it, so she could get her deposit back. I spent my whole summer doing that. My mother died. I'm cleaning his house, his trailer, my trailer. And they're nitpicking. We're long residents. So I'm wondering, so they come and check the trailer, and then they said they can add more stuff. So if we pay this big increase, are they just going to keep adding more stuff? I mean, what gives them the right? There's a lot of people up there that should not be running it. I already know a lot of stuff that goes back. So,
You have
what-
30 seconds.
What gives them the right to do that?
I'll make a quick,
You want to address that?
I was just gonna say, I'll speak with camp staff and the Parks and Rec team. It's my hope that it's a single inspection report you get up front, just like we expect here in residential homes.
Okay.
You get one inspection report, they shouldn't be coming back and trying to adjust that inspection report upon the initial inspection.
Okay.
And so I'll have that conversation to make sure that that's also
Okay.
consistent.
That was my big concern, because everybody,
Concern, Mayor, I appreciate that. And ma'am, you're saying it says that on the inspection report, or they just said that? It says on a.
Says what?
It says on the inspection report that they can re-inspect?
yeah, my husband read it. He goes, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this.
I'm sure you'll look into it.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it.
The courts here
Okay.
in Dearborn have already struck that down with the building department passing the restriction.
Okay.
They will not allow a second inspection to come out.
Well, no, they said when they come check it, then they can add more stuff.
I understand, that's
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
meant.
Okay,
So
okay.
the ideal is that you
It's
come
not
up,
intention,
yeah.
And they're gonna find out why it says that. and
Okay.
how
Correct.
Okay.
So
Okay,
we
so-
appreciate you bringing that forward.
So the payments are due, how do
Payments were brought
people,
forward- The payments were brought forward, as the mayor indicated.
okay,
Because there was a lack of
Okay.
collection, and there was no, and we had this conversation, I had the conversation with the mayor.
Okay.
and we were- People were paying on the way up there.
Okay.
And it didn't work that way.
okay, so now, usually when people work on it real quick, they're giving you 8 to 12 check out, come back 1 to 4. How are you gonna do that? We stay all weekend, work on the trailer. They're almost crushing everybody to take off work to work on their trailer, 8 to 12, 1 to 4, Monday through Friday.
So what I would tell you is, Steve is somebody who goes to TV2. I think he stays in TV2. He's up in Camp Dearborn fairly often. And so work with him and we'll see if we can accommodate hours before and after, whatever it might be that's necessary.
Okay.
To make sure that we can make the accommodations that are necessary. I don't think we're trying to make it difficult for people to go up. I think it's more of a staffing issue, if anything. And so maybe we can find some times to have late hours, weekends, whatever it might be to accommodate for folks.
Okay, so
And
how do
those
we?
times, ma'am, those times
go
I
ahead.
believe are the time they come out to inspect.
Okay.
That's not when you can work on the trailer. I'm sure we're not telling the people what time they can work on the
They
trailer.
are telling us we can't spend the night at our trailer. We can't stay there
All
ever.
right, well, we're gonna have to find out on, as far as that, but those times that you said are very consistent to when inspections occur.
They did this to Mary last year. They did not let her stay at her trailer. She paid for a full year. She was not allowed in. She had to sneak in. She paid for the whole year.
Okay.
Moved the shed, painted the trailer. They're doing whatever they want up there. A lot of people should not be working up there, put it that way.
Thank you very much, Mayor, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and please, if you can,
Steve in the back.
Stephen back there is just, he's a time resident of Dearborn and is up there all the time.
Okay.
And the mayor has appointed them for, in that position up there to help for these
Okay.
scenarios.
Okay,
So
great.
please make sure you get a hold of him.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, we have one final one is we're gonna go to our council meeting, and this is Ted Barham. Steve?
Ted Barham. I'm a Dearborn resident. I'd like to talk about all the national publicity that's come to Dearborn about the Gaza and Israel war. And on the one hand, I think it's very good that people have been made more aware of the suffering over there. Just thinking about how my little boy today, when I was, when we were playing, and then just from a little scrape, he was crying for a long time, and I was holding him, and I was thinking of the thousands of children in Gaza who've been killed or orphaned. But I think the other side of the story is, just to give you a personal example, our Jewish landlord in Israel, when we were there temporarily last year, he's actually from Michigan originally. He's lost a nephew, and so that nephew's child, his child has been orphaned as well. So I realize that's a minority of those who've been killed. But what I'm saying is, this Wall Street Journal article, I realize that it was one-sided, but I still feel that something needs to be done about the anti-Semitism that there is in Dearborn. I do have an idea about this. I would like to suggest, in fact, I proposed this to the city council in an email, so now I'm doing it publicly in person. A Christian public message once every Sunday, kind of like the mosque call to prayer, but it's a Christian one. And the first one would be the original call to prayer, the ancient Hebrew Shema, which talks about one God, one Lord. And then I would like to add a Christian adaptation to that, where it talks about how the Jewish Messiah, through his death, he put to death the hostility between the two groups, Jewish and non-Jewish, there in East Jerusalem, which is now officially Palestine. And
You have 30 seconds.
talking about one God, one Lord, what he did was he brought together the two groups to be united as one person. So that is the public message that I'm applying to have go out. What do you think about the idea of having a Christian public message once a week, just like the Islamic? The mosque call to prayer goes out in many parts of Dearborn 5 times a day, 7 days a week. So that's my question, and it would be a message
time
of
has
peace right
expired.
now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barham. Thank you very much. All right. At this time, we have to close our public comment. We did fulfill all the cards. If anyone, there is another public comment at the end. At that time, we will then be taking some more public comment if necessary. Remember, too, the agenda items are, if there is something you want to address with the council regarding that specific agenda item, we ask that you wait until that item comes forward, and then you could stand up to be recognized by myself and be allowed a time to speak. Mr. Clerk, next item of business.
Item number 6, resolution in need of an offer and support. Approving all the items of the consent agenda, requesting immediate effect.
Okay, offered by Councilman Eno, supported by Councilwoman Herrick. Before we move to the consent agenda, are there any items that any member would wish to remove from the consent agenda and discuss individually? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Mr. Clerk, can we have a roll call vote?
Councilmember Enos?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamud?
Yes.
Councilmember Abraham?
Yes.
Councilmember Paris?
Yes.
Councilmember Herrick?
Yes.
Council President Sereni?
Yes.
The resolution passes.
All right, Mr. Clerk, can we have the next item?
Item number 10, resolution by council members Enos and Herrick approving the minutes of the previous regular meeting of January 23rd, 2024.
Okay, are there any additions, deletions, or modifications to the minutes? Okay, hearing and seeing none, a unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item.
Item 11, resolution by council members Hamud and Enos awarding a sole source contract to Curtis Glass in the amount of $3,323,300 with a contingency in the amount of $191,460 for repair of the glass curtain wall at the Ford Community and Performing Arts Center. Also authorizing the finance director to recognize and appropriate $415,323 in funding transfer from the recreation operating budget and general capital improvement budgets to the facility budget, project I-52715.
All right, Mr. Clerk, we did make an adjustment to that on the cow, so I'm going to read mine, and then we'll just make sure it's corrected. Okay? It's just in the dollar amount. The glass curtain, we have a photo of it as well, too, yes. Our beautiful gem here at Ford Community Performing Arts Center. The glass curtain wall for the center has been discovered to be causing leaking into the building due to water displacement, design, installation, and product erosion over time. This repair is highly labor-intensive and requires over 960 glass panels to be removed, taking to their shop for repairs and then reinstalled. This repair is an urgent need and is also delaying our necessary roof repairs. After extensive process that involved repeated water testing and analysis from SME Engineering to determine the cause and solution of the repair to the center, the city recommends this contract. The council called a study session on January 31st in which all parties were present to discuss. As a result of the study session, it was also determined that an additional section of the center would also need the same repairs in the very near future, and it was requested to include an additional 135 panels of glass to be repaired. Due to the complexity of the project and the skill required to repair the center, the sole source approval is requested to be paid to Curtis Glass in the amount of $3,514,760, up to, not to exceed $3,514,760, which includes a contingency of $191,460. Did you get that change, Mr. Clerk?
That's what I have on my report.
Oh, you have $3,000,005? Okay, because I thought you read
I didn't have the
3,000,003.
3.5, I had the 3.3.
Right, so it's $3,514,760, not to exceed.
Got it.
What that did was it added an additional 500,000. Councilman Hamud?
I would say it's a semicolon, so I think it's 3,000,003 in the beginning, and then there's an additional 415. So like, the total is, we don't say the total because it's two different sentences. Is the way I understood it.
No, it's not. We do say the total. We're appropriating the money. That's why I said the total.
From two different funds, I think.
The funding, we're appropriating it. The funding comes in the form of the writing and the resolution, which I sign afterwards.
Okay.
So we are appropriating $3,514,760, which includes $191,460 in a contingency.
Okay, so I think the number you're talking about is the contract amount.
Okay. Mr. Kennedy, do you have something you have to add?
Good evening, Michael Kennedy, Finance Director. I was just going to reiterate what you just said, I guess, that the 3,514,760.
I appreciate it, but we don't need three people to say what I said. I said what I said, so that's what I said. So we're going to go from there, so we can continue the meeting. But I do appreciate that. Once the agenda comes through, we will sign off on it like we normally do. So that's what was agreed upon in the council. It was Councilman Abraham's suggestion, which was unanimously adopted. I left it open on purpose because the mayor is looking for funding in our meeting that he's indicating he might be able to use without using general fund. And I'm sure all of the colleagues wanted to leave that to the administration as where they could bring the money from. That's why we left it specifically open. All right, any other questions or comments? Councilman Abu.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like, just the question, it looks like we're pulling that additional funding from the recreation operating budget, and so we do have the budget in there to cover that. We're not cannibalizing the other programs. I guess it's a question for finance or the mayor's office.
You have a question for finance?
That's a question.
Yeah. Do you want the finance director?
If someone has an easy answer,
Yeah.
it's not supposed to be.
Director Kennedy?
Because we talked about it a little bit in terms of coming from
Yeah,
the facilities
that's fair.
fund, so I just want to make sure that, so the money we're allocating is not coming from another program that's already.
As
on
we've
the schedule?
identified, we're 7 months through the fiscal year, and we worked with the Recreation Department and identified excess budget that could be reallocated for this reason.
Okay, so we're not pulling it away from another program that was already in the works.
Correct.
Okay, then I'm good, thank you. And then I guess my comment on it is, I think it's a great job, and on the part of both of you guys, both the finance department for finding the funding, and, Parks and Rec, I think we've had some, parks, whatever, not rec, well, we are recreation too. I think we've had some disagreements in the past on spending, and I have to say that this contract, and we got the chance to talk to the contractor, it looks like a big dollar figure because it is, and it's quite, problematic what's been going on at the Performing Arts Center in terms of water ingress into the buildings. And I think that you guys did a good job on this one, and I appreciate the expertise that was very clearly demonstrated by the contractors and the thoroughness which you guys went through the contract with them. So I appreciate this. This was good work.
Yes, thank you, Councilman Wood. And for the council, we did have the study session, you guys are good, because of this specific reason. This was a very unique project, and I think everybody agreed when I mentioned at the committee of the whole, $3.5 million, but is a lot of money. But this is a very specific, and that's why I wanted to make sure the photo was showed of the 960 pieces of glass that has to be removed. And that's why we wanted as a council to have this meeting, talk to them. I do appreciate the administration and the mayor's office doing a very intensive expert analysis. Yes. And then we also brought a contractor in to listen to see if, to give us some feedback as well as a council. So it wasn't taken lightly. I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's also a building that is a very important building to our city, front-facing to our city, and has, the taxpayers has already paid for. So we wanted to make sure that we do keep it up, and hence that's why we said, let's do it all while we have the opportunity. Councilman Moore?
Yes, I'd just like to finish that off too by thanking two of my colleagues, you for bringing in the contractor to, kind of independently assess what we were talking about, because I don't think anybody is a window expert, and Councilman Abraham for pushing to expand the contract to encompass all the windows. I think when we thought about it, it made some more sense, and we tasked the administration with coming up with it, and they came up with a good solution. So thank you as well to Councilman.
Can I make a comment?
Hopefully it works. Absolutely. Just one after Councilman Paris.
Just real briefly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make mention too, because I know people are watching this, where are we coming up with $3.5 million? There are 8 different funding sources that are listed under our backup material that's available for people to see if you go online for our council meeting. But a big chunk of this, and correct me if I'm wrong, the 2.559 million is out of ARPA funds.
Correct.
So for our facilities modernization and infrastructure, we have different silos that the ARPA funds that we had allocated to us by the government in the past. We have different silos that we're using that money from, and this big chunk of this project is from the ARPA money. So it's not just coming right out of a general fund. I don't want people to understand that it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, you have something to add?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, this contract hurts because we're probably at over $6 million of investment back into the community center, investments that people won't really see. New roofing that costs about $2.5 million, north of $2.5 million. $3.5 million for a curtain wall for all new glass. And it's not really like a new offering inside the campus or the facility. But this just, speaks to the same thing that we talked about earlier with Camp Dearborn. There's so much in maintenance that has been deferred that we're trying to catch up on. And it really is tens of millions of dollars that we're trying to find grant dollars. We had a $2.5 million grant for roofing that I grabbed down as a state rep that we're able to change. The warranty might not apply if we don't fix the curtain wall, which is why this came up now. But we're really trying to think outside the box of how we get these things done, and it's not easy. If you think the original construction of the Performing Arts Center, I think it was like $45 million, and we're at, we're north of $6, $7, $8 million, getting to close to 25% of the original construction, just into improvements again on that facility after 20-some years, and that's the state of many of our facilities, actually. And it's not because of anybody who's trying to be negligent or anything. It was just a matter of tight resources at a tight time. And so we're really using this opportunity to draw down dollars where we can find them and apply them appropriately to make sure that our assets that make Dearborn special remain special. And so I just wanted to give that commentary again.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mayor. And we all in the council appreciate what you did and made sure that we were supportive of, like you said when I talked to you, said, if we can find a better idea, we would do it, because we do know that it's cost, so. But we do appreciate it. Any other questions or comments on the current? Councilman Abraham?
As the mayor brought it up, I think it's important to mention the roof in combination with the curtain wall, the windows, will provide almost a 20-year warranty into the future to preserve this facility, which is a magnificent facility. If you haven't been there, go visit it. As it was already stated, it's public facing. We welcome the community there. It's kind of our premier facility in the city. And I think it's an excellent reinvestment in that facility. Roof, infrastructure, windows, maintaining the facility so that the next generation of our users, our visitors, will have that facility in the same condition that we enjoyed it over the last 22 years.
Thank you, Councilman. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Item number 12, ordinance number 24-1806, an ordinance to amend the Parks and Recreations Chapter 15 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dearborn by amending Section 15-53 entitled Dog Park Use Generally, resolution by Council Members Herrick and Abraham, to take from the table for its final reading.
Okay, and unanimous roll shall be attached to take from the table for its final reading. The amendments of Section 15-53 are being proposed to align with new expiration of dog licenses. This will streamline the process for the customers and eliminate multiple trips to the city. This change will move the expiration of the dog park license from February 28th to March 31st on an annual basis. This is the second and final reading of this ordinance. Is there any questions or comments on it? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, Mr. Clerk, can we have the final reading?
This is the final reading of ordinance number 24-1806, an ordinance to amend the Parks and Recreation Chapter 15 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dearborn by amending Section 15-53 entitled Dog Park Use Generally.
All right. And Mr. Clerk, can we have a roll call vote?
Councilmember Hammoud.
Yes.
Councilmember Abraham.
Yes.
Councilmember Paris.
Yes.
Councilmember Herrick.
Yes.
Council President Sereni.
Yes.
Councilmember Enos.
Yes.
6 yeas, the ordinance passes.
All right, Mr. Clerk, can we have the next item?
Item 13, resolution by Council Members Hammoud and Herrick, authorizing to waive certain regulations in the Code of Ordinances that govern outdoor dining and hours of operation to support brick and mortar restaurants during Ramadan from March 9th, 2024 through April 10th, 2024, and requesting immediate effect.
All right, thank you, Mr. Clerk. In 2022 and 2023, the council adopted a measure to promote the brick and mortar restaurants during Ramadan to provide or expand outdoor seating by making temporary modifications to our local ordinances. It was successful in the past and is being requested again to extend the hours of operation from March 9th to April 10th to 3 a.m. In addition, a temporary modification will allow for expanded outdoor dining season to span from March 9th to November 15th of 2024. In compliance with the current permitted requirements and processes, all applicants will need to submit a copy of their site plans to the Economic Development Department, which will be enforcing any code violations that are contrary to the original submitted plans. It is recommended to the council to temporarily waive certain regulations found in our zoning ordinance, Section 7.02W, and the City Code of Ordinances 12-81 and 12-31 to support this effort, and immediate effect is being requested. Any questions or comments on this item? Okay, hearing and seeing none, unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item.
Item 14, resolution by council members Paris and Enos awarding a 4-year sole source contract to Midwest Golf and Turf in the amount of $59,569 for the lease of 60 golf carts for the use at Dearborn Hills Golf Course, and requesting immediate effect.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The Parks and Recreation Department, in conjunction with purchasing, is recommending an award of a contract to Midwest Golf and Turf for the purpose of leasing 60, yeah, we got them right there on the screen, 60 new club cart tempo golf carts for the use in Dearborn Hills Golf Course with course navigation systems. The current fleet of 68 carts were purchased used in 2015 and are well beyond the useful life. They are being traded in for a value of $110,050 towards the new requested lease contract. Midwest Golf and Turf is also a provider of our carts at Mystic Creek in Camp Dearborn and has performed well to the contract. The requested net amount for the 4-year contract is $238,277.28. Good through the 2027 golf season, and the allocation is based on a seasonal contract of $59,569.32. It is requested that the council authorize this one-time purchase for delivery to take place this season. All 18 holes will be operational and open at Dearborn Hills, which was a question last year from a lot of residents. So, Mayor, we do appreciate that, and our rec department, these carts are phenomenal. I didn't know that. That's why I wanted to show the navigation and the stuff on these carts they make a big difference, and now all 18 holes will be expected to be open.
Yeah.
Correct?
I think there was a greater conspiracy theory about whether the 18 holes would come back or not, and so I'm
There
glad
was.
that we can finally tell folk there's never a conspiracy theory. We were working towards getting back to 18 holes. We completed the log jam removal, which has helped substantially. There's a lot of investment that still needs to be made at Dearborn Holes. We need we need to update, fix our sprinkler system. Dearborn Hills Restaurant is coming along. Got to take a tour of that. An initial $300,000 investment promised by the restaurateurs going in is actually now close to $750,000.
I believe it.
And so there's a lot happening to update this whole facility to make it brand spanking new, and hopefully this is just more good news for Dearborn Hills Golf Course.
It is. We do appreciate it, Mayor. And going as far as, and I know Councilman Enos, you being in the restaurant, you said this was a slam dunk when we went ahead and outsourced. I always believe the government should do the government work, and running a restaurant's not our work. So I do appreciate that, Mayor, and somebody spending almost $750,000 in our building to have a 12-month operation. That facility is going to be able to be rented out for banquets, birthdays, so on and so forth. So
I saw the renderings. You guys it's gonna be beautiful.
It's gonna be beautiful. And yes, for everyone, especially council members, get it out to your groups out there. The 18 holes will be open. And we do appreciate it, Mayor. And
just be patient on the condition of the 18 holes. I just want hole 5 took some damage in the log jam removal. So if we're expecting the premier golf course, just give us a few years to repair some of those fairways and greens.
Yep. I think our residents look at progress, and I think that's all they see. Progress is good enough. So we do appreciate it. Any other questions or comments on this? All right, hearing and seeing none, unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item.
Item 15, resolution by council members Herrick and Abraham approving the fiscal year 2024 Smart Municipal and Community Credit Contract in the amount of $359,637 and requesting immediate effect.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. For 26 years, the city of Dearborn has partnered with SMART to offer transportation services to our residents 60 years of age and older. For our 2024 fiscal year, this will be the 27th year of this program in Dearborn. The program runs through the Parks and Recreation Department and transports approximately 200 rides per week. This curb-to-curb transportation is available Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., and it remains just a single dollar each way, $2, of course, for a round trip. However, there is no one refused for a ride or hardship situations. For scheduling purposes, medical appointments are given the highest priority, and the program is equipped with 5 7-passenger vans and 2 13-passenger buses, which are all equipped with wheelchair access. When traveling, this is the second portion. When traveling outside of Dearborn, our residents that are 65 years of age and older are eligible for a free smart bus transportation, which are provided valid proof of residency. These tickets are available at the Ford Community and Performing Arts Center at our Senior Services Office. The requested amount for this item's $359,637 in adopted expenses and $359,637 in adopted revenues, and immediate effect is being requested. Any questions or comments?
Just make one comment. We
Mayor?
were successful in an $800,000 grant that I think came before council to replace all the buses.
Yes.
And that fleet will arrive in 2025.
Phenomenal, thank you, Mayor. And how are we doing on finding the volunteers, the people to drive these buses? I know that was a little strain. Is it getting better?
I think we've now have a manager over the senior services and stuff, but it's getting a lot better.
Yeah, you do have to have a special license to drive
Correct,
these, so
correct.
we do know that's not anybody, so
And
we
they're
do
for
appreciate that.
employees, not volunteers.
Yeah, I'm sorry, employees, you're correct, you're correct. Any other questions or comments? It's a great service for anybody that would like to use that for Dearborn residents. Hearing and seeing none, unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item.
Item 16, resolution by council members Abraham and Enos granting the request of Running Fit Events to conduct the 16th annual Martian Marathon Invasion of Races on Saturday, April 13th, 2024, from approximately 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. with assistance from the police department and subject to certain stipulations. Also authorizing the police chief to make application and sign all necessary documents relating to the issuance of the necessary state and county permits and requesting immediate effect.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Run Fit Events is requesting council to approve and conduct their 16th annual Martian Run Marathon Invasion of the Races on Saturday, April 13th, 2024. This marks the 16th year that the event will be held in Dearborn with a goal of 3,000 participants. The starting times for the 5K and 10K run is at 8 a.m. and will result in Cherry Hill Road being closed for approximately 10 to 15 minutes between 8:05 a.m. and 8:15 a.m. Also, in continued effort to gain more exposure and excitement for the 24 event, the course routes for a full marathon starts at 7:15, half marathon at 8:45, and the Meteor 10K at 8 a.m. Races will remain unchanged from last year's routes, which resulted in minimal disruption to both Fort Dearborn and Riverbend areas, as well as the Outer Drive and Nash and Military Streets as well. Run Fit Events agrees to reimburse the city of Dearborn for all incurred manpower costs. Partial proceeds of the 2024 event will go to the benefit of the Dearborn Parks and Recreation, selected youth athletic programs for their time and donation on their volunteers. Immediate effect is being requested. Any questions or comments on the marathon? All right, hopefully we'll see you guys all there. Unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item.
Item 17, resolution by council members Serini and Abraham proclaiming February 2024 as Black History Month.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. February marks the start of Black History Month recognized federally since 1976, and to celebrate the contributions of African Americans made to this country, and a time to reflect on the continuing struggle for racial equality. Black History Month fosters cultural awareness and understanding while encouraging education and contributions made by Americans of color. The Black History Month honors the history of ongoing achievements of Black Americans and provides an opportunity to reflect on the centuries of struggle that have brought us to this time of reckoning, redemption, and hope. Celebration of Black History Month is a positive way to recognize the culture and history of African Americans as a vital core beliefs and values of this society. Resolved, the 34th City Council proclaims February 2024 Black History Month and encourages the residents of Dearborn to learn about the ever-evolving history of Black Americans and participate in activities that foster awareness and appreciation of African Americans' contributions to shaping history of America and help to continue our efforts to create a world that is more just and prosperous for all. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, a unanimous roll shall be attached, Ms. Clerk. Thank you. Next item.
Item 18, resolution by council members Hamud and Paris granting the request of Saber Yafaya of Yafa Construction to split the property located at 3811 Alice in order to build 2 single-family homes and requesting immediate effect.
Okay, Ms. Clerk, this, Mr. Yafai, if you'd like to come up. So this request is by Yafa Construction allowing to split a property at 3811 Alice to build a 2-family single home. I know we had some discussion at the committee of the whole, and we wanted to see if anybody had some more questions. Basically, what's happened is that you purchased one lot for 87 feet long. Is that correct, Mr. Fry?
Correct.
And instead of building one large house, you're requesting to split the lot and build 2 smaller homes. You had given us the dimensions before, 47?
40 wide and 47.
40 and 47, 2 homes.
2 homes.
It was also recognized that that this home is in a floodplain.
Correct.
All right, and you had made it aware to the council that even though it was disclosed to you, and surprise to some of us and our economic development, verified that you cannot build a basement in those homes. Is that correct?
That's correct, based on FEMA.
Yeah, so that, not the building codes of Dearborn, that's just required.
Correct.
All right, so the question is for the council whether we'd like to receive the property back, start doing our maintenance on it, or let Mr. Fayez split so he can build 2 homes that will go on our tax rolls. I know that you had, for the council and for the residents, you have done several buildings in Dearborn?
That's correct. So in the past years, I have inquired properties from the city. We've developed those properties, brought residents from different cities and different states to live into those properties. Our time from commencing work to getting someone into the house is within 12 months, which is very, it seems to be a good amount of time for us to conduct our work.
12 months? I'm sorry, you said 12 months?
12 months.
Okay.
And so the things that makes this a little bit different here is this is a property that we cannot construct a basement on, making it, if you construct a big home, a massive home on that property, we take the risk of the property not selling. We end up either, getting rentals into that property. Becomes a difficult problem for everybody. Another thing is, if we go the route of building on one side of the property and waiting the period to remove the construction, the restriction from the city council, then we come back a year later to construct the second house, and that will cause a lot of disturbance for the neighborhoods. And just a year ago, I had a resident tell me that I go to work in the midnight shift. Can you delay your construction from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock? So we do our best within the city to understand that we're not going to go into a neighborhood, disturb everybody, and leave. Right. In this case, instead of building one house, getting the city council resolution removed, requesting a split, and then commencing work a year later, we're asking to construct both houses at the same time and minimize the time frame to cause noise and disturbance in the neighborhood.
Yeah. So just for the record too, I think we did spoke with the economic development. You have built some homes. There has been no issue. There's been no violations, no issues with the building, which sometimes that happens. We have builders that disrupt the neighborhood, don't follow the rules, and then causes a sore issue. You're not one of those. There's not an issue there. So this has been recommended for approval because of that situation. And whether we want to allow the property to, if you default on it, which means we take it back, because we sold it to you for one home on the lot. If we take it back, then we will have to then re-put it out for bid and incur our maintenance costs on it as well, as opposed to having 2 homes go on the tax roll.
And I checked on the existing property the city owns. Most of them have been sold, except for the properties near Tireman and that area, and all the flood properties have not sold.
Have not sold. Well,
have not sold since they've been listed with the real estate company. So we're taking a risk and building on a property of this nature.
Okay, so I know my colleagues, we had a lot of questions answered, but I looked over for my colleagues from questions. Councilman Enos.
When will construction begin?
We would like to get ready. I mean, we have plans submitted to the city. We submitted a split request. It got approved by all the departments except the legal department, just for the council resolution. As soon as we have the approval to split, we have the plans ready to submit. We have the survey ready to go. We would like to commence work in March, April timeframe, because me as a manager of the construction, I'd like to finish everything outside before the winter hits, before April.
Yeah.
So, like I said, my company takes pride in finishing the job within 12 months, so from start to finish. So we'd like to commence work in April.
Yeah.
And by April next year, hopefully, there's people living in those houses.
Councilman Enos, good? Councilman Harris.
Thank you, Council President.
I appreciate that you've built homes successfully in Dearborn before and put those homes on our tax rolls when we've had empty properties. We appreciate that. I do have a quick question because and perhaps I misunderstood what you said, but part of the stipulations of the contract, do you sell those homes when you build them? Because under this condition, it needs to be owner occupied. If I'm not mistaken, it cannot be a rental.
So yeah, in this
Okay.
case, we work with the local real estate agents, and we never had a house sit for over a month. So it's as soon as we obtain the CFO, someone is moving into the house.
Right, but what the councilwoman's asking, I apologize, is saying that it is sold for a resident to
Sold
live in.
for- to
Because that's
live in.
requirement,
Yes,
not a rental.
yes, it's not a rental.
Okay.
Is that what you want?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, we, as a council, do not usually like to go back and make a change once that we've sold a property under certain conditions. But because of the conditions that have been discussed this evening regarding not being able to build a basement because of it, the flood conditions on those particular properties, and also taking into consideration that particular neighborhood and the sizes of the other houses in the neighborhood.
Exactly.
I think that you're being sensitive to the neighbors when you're thinking about building homes that blend into the neighborhood a little bit more than a house twice its size would.
Yes.
So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Hearing and seeing any, no other questions?
Council President, really quick.
Yes.
Just to clarify on the agenda, because it reads to split the property, that's not really what you're doing. You're removing the restriction that will allow it
Correct.
for the administration to go through the parcel split process to be approved to build 2 homes. So I just wanted to add that for the expectation, because that reads a little contrary to, I think, what the action of the council is here.
Correct. Yeah, and Mr. Romer, thank you for that. You, obviously, your deputy was here. We were doing it on the fly, but that's why we're glad you're here today. So Councilman Hammoud and Councilman Parrish, do you have any objection to the modification that Mr. Romer had stated, which is, Mr. Romer? That
Yeah,
it is
it's to remove the single-family home
To remove the
restriction.
single-family home restriction, because the rest is all handled administrative.
Right, that's going through our parcel split process.
Exactly.
That is really the only hiccup, so it will likely be approved, but that's not, they're not granting the split, they're granting the removal. of the
Right, that's a very good distinction, I appreciate that. Councilman Hammoud?
Yeah, I'll articulate,
Yes,
maybe
if you
the
will.
agenda item doesn't read it right, but in the actual item in our backup, it does read right. This is a request to allow the split of the property to build 2 single-family homes. Like, I'm just gonna say it exactly like that. Is that-
You're not granting the split.
No, I said we're allowing the split.
No,
No.
we can't allow the split.
The split is done administratively under
that's what I was saying.
code. What you have, the issue here is a restriction in your
restriction.
council
Understood.
resolution.
We are now removing the restriction, which means you're allowing it.
No.
It
Okay.
still
No, it's
goes
two
through
different
the
things.
lot.
So
Yeah,
that's-
they're 2 different things.
That's why we have,
I understood.
Mr.
Yeah.
Afaya, we gotta have one
Yeah, this
person
is
run the
one
meeting, and we're gonna
count.
be here
Yeah.
till midnight.
Okay, so we're
It's a
gonna remove the
removal of a
restriction.
deed restriction.
All right, done, yeah.
You agree to that?
Great, yes.
Councilman Parrish, you'd
Yes.
agree? Okay, Mr. Romer, we understand each other. Mr. Clerk, you got that?
Yes, sir.
To change it to remove the deed restriction, and then you proceed normally through the normal course.
It's already passed, so we're just waiting on that.
It can't pass before we pass it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it ain't passed yet.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Okay, unanimous roll shall be attached. Good luck. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Next item. Thanks, Bob.
We have a walk-on item number 20, resolution in need of offer and support.
Well, we missed 19.
Oh, I'm sorry.
okay.
Item number 19, resolution by council members Hammoud and Herrick, concurring in the appointment of Mary R. Namath to the Senior Citizen Commission with a term ending June 30th, 2027, and requesting immediate effect.
All right, thank you very much. Oh, she's here, excellent. So, Ms. Namath, yeah, Ms. Namath, right? Thank you for coming. So just for our record, the failure of a multi-body appointee to possess the required qualifications for appointment by the charter or law shall result in the member's immediate vacancy from the multi-member body to which they were appointed. Ms. Namath wishes to serve on our Senior Citizens Commission and recommended approval for her to be appointed to a term to serve, a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2027. We'd like to thank Ms. Namath for being here as well as for attending a previous council meeting, right? And letting us know what skills you have. many people know, there is many commissions, and the mayor, you have done a tremendous job of filling vacancies. These are volunteer positions, so, but they are extremely important. So we do thank you for your service, and thank you for coming to the council. And I'm glad they found somewhere where I know that you could serve and help our community grow.
I will.
After.
So-
The
The clerk will,
clerk will do it afterwards.
the clerk, yes, all right.
Also,
Any other, Councilman
We
Hamud?
thought it was pretty cool you're a level 3 assessor.
Right. Yes.
So we thought it was pretty cool you're a level 3 assessor. We want to see if you wanted a job also with us back again.
Right. All right, ma'am, did you want to come up? Yeah, let's have you come up. That's okay.
I told you about a few things that were going to happen. Do I need to say my name and all
Yes.
that? Okay, Mary Namath, 23313 Oak Street, Dearborn, Michigan.
Excellent.
I do want to tell you that he just told you that on your buses that are taking the people to and from, and they have a new service manager, a new manager in the senior division, they picked the right person.
Great.
Already, tons of things have gone and made changes and literally fixed. Like going from a Monday to a Wednesday and walking in and going, and the morale of that staff is back up. It's beautiful. It was a
That's
really
good to hear.
So I just wanted to, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments?
I think we should end the meeting right there.
Yeah, well, that is a
No,
comment.
we still have one
All
more
right,
item.
hearing, thank you. All right, hearing and seeing no objections, unanimous roll shall be attached. Next item?
Now we have a walk-on item. Item
Okay.
number 20, resolution in need of offer and support, recognizing LSA Unified U of M
Support.
Dearborn at 23756 Michigan Avenue, Suite 300, as a nonprofit organization in the city of Dearborn for the purpose of obtaining a charitable gaming license and requesting immediate effect.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. The LSA Unified UMD has requested the city to recognize it as a nonprofit organization operation within the city for the purposes of obtaining charitable gaming, bingo, and raffle licensing from the Bureau of State Lottery for an upcoming charity event. We have an offer on this. This was also sent through our legal department, Mr. Romer. You had cleared, there's no, if you'd like to just speak to it so that the council knows that it's been cleared through legal.
Yeah, so the memo in the backup, I went through, I reviewed the articles of incorporations, the requirements that the state requires. It meets those requirements, so you're good to approve.
All right, and this, we like to always find out in Dearborn who the organization is, so we still need a support on it too, so would you like to state your name and
Sure.
the
Yeah,
organization?
so Kareem Kadu, Dearborn Heights resident. Thank you, Council President Serini, Mayor Hammoud, council members. Thank you, Council Member Hammoud, for having us and helping organize this. I'm the board president of LSA Unified UMD. We're a nonprofit that operates here in Dearborn as well as in various areas of the state. Overall, our mission is to promote, develop, and advance Lebanese American student leadership in the state of Michigan. We do this through community service, civic engagement, and different community events. Our most notable event is our Unified Gala. We're on our 11th year of that. It brings in 6 LSA chapters across the state of Michigan. From what our research has shown, it's one of the largest annual student-led charity events in the country, donating tens of thousands of dollars each year to charitable organizations. We are here today just requesting that recognition, so as we do our events and have different raffles, we're able to apply for licenses with the state to remain in compliance.
Support. Supported by Councilman Abraham. Thank you very much. We do appreciate that. UMD is University of Michigan Dearborn.
Correct.
Just wanted to make sure.
The University of Michigan Dearborn.
We're not Ohio State, please.
Well, good luck to you. We do appreciate the work you do. I know my daughter was part of that program.
I was 10 years ago.
Yep.
Fun fact,
Councilman
I'm the
Hammoud.
one who brought the organization forward at the University of Michigan Dearborn and the former vice president.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Wow.
it had just started by the time I was
I
there.
wasn't-
I
didn't know
established
that.
it. Highest
I did not
percent.
know that. That's excellent. Is that true, Mr. Cadu?
Back in
confirm.
2007, 2008.
Good answer.
Because the person who incorporated it, they never did all their.
It was hard
work
enough to
and
get the
research.
Constitution incorporated.
Yeah, it is. It is in the beginning, Bob. You know, that's crazy.
But the gala is like one of the biggest events. Yeah, it's
All right.
it's like a massive wedding without a bride and groom, but it's like one of the most fun things I ever did in college. So I gotta give them
Excellent.
credit. And
So,
I appreciate
Mr.
you guys doing things by the book. You know, that's I know it's very difficult for
try.
student org sometimes.
Mr. Clerk, you do have the support by Councilman Abraham.
Got it.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Cadu. Any questions or comments from anyone else? Any objection, unanimous roll? Shall be attached. Next item.
Nothing further on the agenda for the evening.
All right, thank you. So we'll open it to the council. For myself, I know that election day, I'm sure, I'm not gonna steer your thunder, so the 27th, I know you're gonna, I wanted to make sure that the residents know, that is a Tuesday, so the council meeting will be held Wednesday, February 28th. We're moving one day over to allow the clerk to take on this big endeavor with the elections and the early voting, which I'm sure you'll speak on. As far as, I always said, I haven't found a bad person that was born in February. So in that case, we have 4 of the 7 council members here. So I wanted to recognize, happy birthday, and we won't get into the ages. Councilman Paris on the 7th, Council President Pro Tem Herrick at the 10th, Councilman El Sawafi, which could not join us today, he's on the 11th, and final, myself is on the 14th. So I wanted to wish everybody a happy birthday, and some of you, well, most of you guys are older, you learn to buy your own self a gift is your best route. Just buy yourself a gift. Councilman Paris.
Council President, thank you. What I will make mention of, though, we had a presentation at the very beginning of the meeting for the Board of Trustees and then also the Dearborn School Board in support. I will say nothing about my age, but I will tell you I went to Henry Ford, $11 a credit hour. Thank you.
Wow. I did, that's a great one. I did it to Henry Ford myself.
Bubblegum was a nickel.
I did myself as well.
Not to one,
I do not remember
not
what
to
I
one
paid.
up the birthday boy, but my father attended Henry Ford and paid $5
That's
a
your
credit.
father.
I'm just telling you.
They had cream soda.
Senior
We
council
go
member.
way back in Dearborn, $5 a credit hour.
It does.
So if the birthday people are talking about attending Henry Ford College to get a great start in our lives, in our academic and our professional lives, I attended Henry Ford College. I was in the honors program there. It was a wonderful experience at the time, and they've only continued to grow the opportunities for students and the dual enrollment programs. I can't say enough about. But when we're talking about what we paid for tuition, I think I paid $32 a credit when I.
Well, we're getting there.
Yeah, it's gone up a bit over the years.
I just want, Councilman.
Actually, I had a scholarship.
I have everybody beat because
Councilman
I did 60 credits at HFC and I paid 0 for it because it was all dual enrollment.
Dual enrollment,
Yeah,
which is what they talked
I
about.
actually had a scholarship that paid for mine.
There you go. Congrats. I just want to remind everybody, as our trustee, D'Ambrosio sitting here in the audience, I know he always brings me my ticket, so thank you. Just a reminder that we have, just the beginning of the Dearborn Firefighters Burn Drive for their 2024 Camaro raffle. I always get these tickets, so they're starting to become available, and it's not till May 7th, but we got plenty of time.
What are you gonna do if you win a Chevy?
I don't know if I win a Chevy. That's gonna be a problem. I never have to worry, I haven't won. But I do appreciate it, Pat, thank you. I want to open it to my colleagues. Councilwoman, oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Councilwoman Herrick.
Thank you, Council President. As we heard earlier this evening, the council supported a resolution recognizing Black History Month. And at this time, we recognize both the great achievements and contributions of African Americans in our country, as well as the challenges that have been faced over the centuries and that continue to be faced today. With that in mind, we are fortunate that we have Henry Ford Museum right here in Dearborn, where they have permanent exhibits where you can learn about the contributions of African Americans in our country. We have the Rosa Parks Bus, of course, everybody knows that, but also the contributions of George Washington Carver and others. And in addition, this month, you might want to visit the Dearborn Public Library. We have a couple of things going on locally, and I'm sorry, I'm pulling it up. The Heritage Crafts at the Esper Branch Library, February 5 through 10, Ruby Bridges Backpack is an opportunity for young people to make a backpack. And then throughout the month, different weeks, they have different activities going on at the Esper Branch Library. And at our Dearborn Historical Museum, we have a program coming up on February 22nd, and that's housing segregation in Dearborn. The program's at 7 o'clock p.m. It's free, and all are welcome to attend attend that program, as are most of the programs at our historical museum. We have great presenters, wonderful exhibits, educational about street names in Dearborn, the impact of architecture and art and history in Dearborn. So whether you're able to attend the event on February 22nd at the Historical Museum or anytime, I encourage you to watch their calendar either online on social media or on their website. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Herrick. Any other of my colleagues? Councilman Hamud.
Yeah, a little bit of a soapbox moment, but earlier we were talking about the Ford Performing Arts Center glass curtain wall, and one thing I wanted to bring to residents in general that we kind of didn't touch on was, as part of the item on authorizing the expenditure, we did have a discussion additionally about city facilities and things like that, and just, as a concept, I think it's important people know that one of the commitments that both this council and even the administration has is making improvements toward things that people don't necessarily see, and as somebody who works on engineering or even, understands infrastructure, it's not always cool what you're spending money on. And I know it was very difficult for the mayor to reach into his pocket and pay $3 million on something no one will ever hopefully see. Our pocket. Our pockets. but I think I do commend, that you guys were actually on the ball on it, because you know what, it's another one of those things that you could have went and put a Band-Aid on. I mean, we saw pictures of buckets, and could we have deferred it? Maybe. So, but I think, one of the other items that we didn't discuss today, but one of the things we requested from the administration had to do with, what their ongoing conversations they're having internally on their facilities are. We want the items that, and we're going to take a look as a council and see if there are additional funds that maybe they hadn't asked us for before, but, maybe we see it as a high priority because it's something that, maybe we're being proactive on instead of being reactive sometimes with some of these issues. So I think it's important that people know that everyone here is trying to look toward the future. And years ago, when we first started on this council, we had talked about a facilities assessment, and and I've heard so far, and this is one of those other things that we talked about, that's nearing completion. And we're going to be, hopefully this year, looking at a lot more items that may be expensive, but, it's important to say that we're planning for the next, not just, this term, because that's politically easy. I think it's important that we plan for the next 10, 15 years, because government is something that's supposed to be in perpetuity. It's not something that you do short-term fixes like a company might for next quarter in our stock performance. So I appreciate the long-term thinking on the part of our DPW department with going through all the departments and working with them to prioritize as best they can, and the commitment of the council, and especially my colleagues for lobbying for more spending on facilities, even if it's not, the coolest press release. So thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from my colleagues?
One more thing.
Councilwoman Herrick? Yeah.
Thank you, Council President. And I thank my colleague for reminding me about the glass curtain wall at the Performing Arts Center. As Councilman Abraham pointed out, it is a gem in our city. It is a focal point. It's a gathering place for people here in Dearborn, and importantly, for people that come to visit our city. And it occurred to me that Friday night, if you have not been to the Performing Arts Center lately, you might want to go Friday evening. 7:30 p.m., our award-winning Dearborn Symphony Orchestra will be performing Stories of Love, just in time for Valentine's Day coming up next week, for friends and family who would like to be entertained with the symphony. They're playing songs, famous movie themes like Pretty Woman and Ghost and others. And this is a particularly special concert because it is the side-by-side concert where our professional symphony musicians play side-by-side for several of the numbers with Dearborn Youth Symphony participants. And so, although you may have heard of the Dearborn Symphony, you may not realize that our Dearborn Youth Symphony, which also performs several times a year at the Performing Arts Center, they are a draw from throughout southeastern Michigan. It is a renowned youth orchestra with the talented musicians that they get to work with, like our symphony performers, and the conductors that are brought in, and the special learning opportunities that young people have to participate in our Dearborn Youth Symphony throughout, it's the school year. They meet on Monday nights. So if you don't have something else going on, or if you're looking for something to do, I encourage you to visit the Performing Arts Center, check out the beautiful exterior glass that we are making an investment in, keeping it looking lovely for decades to come, and it'll have, it'll be a wonderful treat if you are able to go this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from my colleagues? Okay, anything from the administration?
A few things. I think just to Councilman Hammoud's point about investing in existing infrastructure, I think I'll just highlight what we've done in the first 2 years. We have a multi-million-dollar investment being made at the DPW building with new pole barns to not only protect our employees in our buildings, but also all the new equipment and fleet that we're purchasing. What council saw actually was we'd purchase new vehicles, and then a busted pole barn would collapse and a rock would shatter a windshield on a brand new $300,000 vehicle. And so that just was unacceptable. We've made that investment. We have $6 million coming forward to rebuild the last 3 remaining pools that haven't seen investment in 70 years. Summer Stevens, Tenike, and Lapeer Park Pool. Very good. We just saw the renderings, and we'll bring that before council once we figure out what the bids are and what the price point is. That's being updated. You saw the investment at the Ford Performing Arts Center. We're now north of $6 million. There's probably another $1.5 million already in the pipeline. So you're getting, again, inching towards that $10 million, investing into that building, replacing the boilers also in the pool internally. We also invested in Camp Dearborn, $2 million going into that existing facility. And the $30 million Peace Park investment, 2/3 of that is in existing parks. So that's about $20 million in existing parks. So just to highlight that for Councilman Hammoud across the city, which is extremely important. We have about $1 million now at Dearborn Hills Golf Course, another $1 million in the Rouge River. So this is all existing infrastructure. It's been a lot of deferred maintenance. We're bringing it back up to par. And so I would say over 80-90% of the investments we've been making is in existing infrastructure that's needed because we want to protect it for decades to come so that our children, our grandchildren can enjoy those assets.
And our senior buildings.
And our senior buildings. We've obviously made multi-million-dollar investments in our senior buildings. We have master planning happening across the city and across our city assets. And so just wanted to highlight there's a lot of success, a lot that's been done in 2 years.
It is. And more to come soon.
Yeah. And there's a lot happening with grant dollars. Again, we're really drawing down as many grant dollars as we can. So there's just kudos to the whole team that's assisted. I think we're somewhere north of $100 million in grants received to date in 2 years. And so it's pretty remarkable when you put that into context. I mean, our budget is $140 million. And in 2 years, you've brought down maybe almost the size of your budget. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's significant, no question. And for everybody knows that, these grant dollars and transformative projects are also, reduce the burden on our taxpayers, which is,
I'd say $25 million on
big deal.
Warren Avenue, that's existing infrastructure. We'll be replacing everything from underground with the water lines all the way above ground to the street lights.
yeah.
See how that goes.
Excellent. All right, thank you, Mayor. Mr. Clerk, anything from the Clerk's Department?
Well, I can't let the night go by without talking about the upcoming early voting and the election day, February 27th. This will be the last time we'll be able to talk to you before that happens. So early voting, again, begins on Saturday, February 17th, and it runs through Sunday, February 25th. Every day will be 9 to 5. And we've been saying this quite a bit tonight, but it's at the Ford Community and Performing Arts Center, which is, I think, the spot it should be. Thank you to the mayor's administration and to the council for allowing us to use the Community Arts Center for that. I think it's the perfect spot for it. So there'll be 3 ways that you can vote this year. You can vote absentee, which a lot of folks have done already. We've already received 5,000 ballots back. Actually, we've sent out 5,000 ballots and we received back about 1,000. We're expecting that number to be about 5,000 when it all is said and done. Now, of course, the new thing is early voting. And lastly, you can vote, of course, on Election Day, February 27th. We've had training already. We've already trained 100 new election workers to work early voting. We expect to train another 50 to 75. Again, thanks to the council for the money to allow that to move forward and to hire those people that will help us get through this new system that we're on, early voting. If the council has any questions, I'm here to answer those at this point for you.
All right, Councilman Herrick?
If you could just remind us, a resident approached me the other day and thanked the council for supporting your efforts to put in the ballot boxes in different quadrants of the city. So
Yes.
could you remind us where they are located?
Yes, the 4 new drop boxes are located at Crowley Park, Levelgood Park, Lapeer Park, and Hemlock Park. And they are being used. So we go, of course, on a daily basis right now to pick up the ballots. As we get closer, we'll probably be going twice a day to empty them out. But all 4 are being used, and of course, the one here at the DAC parking lot as well. Thank you for asking.
Right, and they are secured and video monitored, so no one has to worry about their ballot when it's in there.
Yep.
It's getting counted.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Yes, of course, Councilman Abraham? Yeah.
So I made this at the last meeting, I'm gonna emphasize it again. I know there's a lot of people that may not be interested in voting in the presidential primary and, I guess, designating whether they're in one political party or the other. But this is a unique election with the local ballot questions for our school and college millage renewals. And in this unique circumstance, a voter can come to the election and make their voice heard by either picking one of those 2 political parties or choosing not to designate and vote just on the local ballot questions, which again are the school and college renewals. So if you really want to have your voice heard, please go out and vote, even if you're voting not to endorse either the parties or either presidential candidates. Go out and have your voice heard at the local level.
Thank you, Councilman Abraham. All right, at this point, it is now for our second public comment section. Anyone that is here to address the council regarding city business, please step forward and state your name for the record. Your name and address for the record, and just a kind reminder, you have a 3-minute limitation. Mr. Yinger, did you have something, Mr. Yinger? If you'd like to come up.
Joel Yinger, 244 Highview. Just a quick question. During when I was up here before, you made a comment about the city saying it was 30 years ago you allowed the cabanas to be on camp. I'm just asking. So I'm going to ask, on the violation paper, could we ask for a stay in cabana, not get with that until we have a definitive, etched in stone how you're going to handle that? Is that possible?
I walked out and I talked to some of the camp goers. One of the ladies that spoke out, I got confused between cabanas and the awnings. But I think Steve is leading that initiative to talk about if there, Sean texted me saying if there's something that says it's grandfathered in, it can stay. It makes our life a lot easier. I think the only exception is if it's a hazard or not a hazard.
I agree. Safety is a big time concern.
Correct.
I agree.
And so I think they got their direction and they're going to work towards that
Cool.
direction.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, anyone else here to address the council regarding city business? Please step forward, state your name and address for the record. Hearing and seeing none, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion adjourned by Councilman Enos. We are adjourned. Thank you.